and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to a Premier League presentation. I'm Blaze, bringing you guys a game between Mouz Sports and Radical Online Extremists, the replacements for 3D Clan in this tournament here. I am joined by Vikromon. He's going to be co-casting with me today.
Hey Blaze, how you doing?
Doing pretty well. A little bit focus diverted. Right now I'm having a lot of issues with the stream, but if you want to kick us off a little bit and give us some commentary with regards to the draft, I'm going to try to get that up so that we can get the lovely viewers on Twitch involved in this as well.
Absolutely, that sounds like a good idea. Alright, so what we've got here is continuing on through the Premier League, we've got Mouz Sports and Radical Online Extremists, and I think this is an interesting matchup, Mouz versus Rox, because these are two teams that both in the last couple of weeks had fairly substantial roster changes. So of course for Mouz, you do have Korakai leaving to join Navi at the end of February, and then it seems currently like he's been replaced on at least a semi-permanent basis by Kochkwa here. And then on rox.KIS's part, of course, they recruited both Sharfik and Dread. But let's go up into the draft. We do see very, very standard bans and picks so far. We have the Wisp taken out, the Keeper of the Light, the Nyx Assassin, and the Bat Rider. This is all extremely standard. These are all heroes you would love to pick up first. Pretty much every team in the Western scene is utilizing these heroes to their fullest extent. And Rox, with the first pick, actually picking up Darkseer. So a strong teamfight hero. You can run him on the solo lane. We have seen some teams intermittently run him mid as well. But solo hard, the most likely location for him. Sometimes you can go up 1 versus 1 in the safe lane as well, depending on what the other team's running. So Darkseer, and then Mouz actually responding with both a Shadow Demon and a Nature's Prophet. Shadow Demon, a good forward-thinking pick. He's one of the strongest supports in the pool, and he is, of course, very good against some heroes like Gyrocopter, Lifestealer, popular carries that are in the pool right now. Shadow Demon can effectively counter them just by use of the fact that Disruption, and especially Demonic Purge, are just so strong against people with magic immunity, like Lifestealer when he pops Rage, like Gyrocopter when he gets BKB. And then with the pickup of the Nature's Prophet and the Queen of Pain, we see Mouz Sports moving towards a more high mobility lineup. So obviously that Queen of Pain will be played by Fata in the mid. It's one of his better heroes, so definitely a strong choice for Fata there, and that gives them an early mid and an early Nature's Prophet that gives more global ganking presence, more ability to sort of teleport on people on Rox's team and try to get pickoffs here and there. Rox, meanwhile, for them, they're going to actually pick up the Gyrocopter, one of the most popular carries in the Western scene right now. Less popular in China for various reasons, but definitely still one of the top heroes. Great in a tri-lane, can get lots of kills. We've actually seen some teams start to run him in mid, solo safe. He just goes all over the place, Gyrocopter, and so he's a very versatile, very strong carry option. Right. Magnus as well. This is most likely going to be mid for rox.KIS, so we are going to see Sharfik going up on the Magnus. He hasn't played Magnus that much. We've mostly seen him running on heroes like Puck and Windrunner and sometimes Brewmaster, but it'll be interesting to see if they do put him on the Magnus, how they actually end up using that.
Alright, so
sorry, go ahead.
Jumping on into it, sorry, yeah, it looks like the stream has stabilized, so just a quick intro for those that didn't catch it on Twitch. Obviously, we're offline fixing some technical issues. Want to apologize personally for that. Just there were some changes. Twitch administration jumped on in and helped us optimize the stream, but instead there were some issues that involved it directly crashing 100%. So we are back on, as usual. I'm Blaze, but also I'm joined here with a co-caster, Vikromon, who has been very, very appreciatively helping me out with the draft here while I figure that technical stuff out. So it does look like we're perfectly fine on that side of things, and yeah, as you can see on the draft, it's been going pretty quickly. These two teams are participating in other tournaments throughout the day, so they kind of want to get things on the move on, so this draft has gone very, very quickly. But yeah, as you've been saying, this is a really, really interesting lineup from both teams here. But the most notable thing is that are running the Gyrocopter as their hard carry, with the Magnus Initiation, Darkseer as well, Vacuum RP, about setting up that flat hit, and all about setting up business perfect to be able to dish out as much damage as possible. And from their Mouz Sports answering back with kind of an aura clip here with the Vengeful Spirit, the Luna. They have the potential to do a level 1 Roshan possibly. Harder on Radiant, but either way, it's an interesting way to go on into things. But beyond that, we're looking at later on seeing the Vengeance Aura and seeing the Lunar Blessing, both of those coming into play and dishing out a lot of damage right off the bat.
What I like about Mouz's lineup is they have sort of game plans at each stage of the game. So sometimes you see teams that draft a lineup that's all late game, or sometimes you see them draft a lineup that's all early game. But with Mouz, they can put a lot of pressure on you early. They've got this Shadow Demon that can do a lot of damage, and especially as a roamer. They've got this Nature's Prophet that can jump right on top of you after he gets a couple levels in the jungle, and of course Queen of Pain. But then in the medium to long term, of course, this Luna Venge Aura stack is going to be very scary. The key for Mouz is going to be making sure that Pos, I think that's Pos on this Vengeful Spirit, actually does manage to get the levels to level his Vengeance Aura sooner than 40 minutes in.
Yeah, that's the main thing there. Vengeful Spirit at low levels isn't that contributional. She's pretty good at zoning with her negative armor and right clicks there, but beyond that, there are a couple of limiting factors either way. And it looks like I'm also missing my game audio.
30 seconds to battle.
is that the the Vengeful Spirit is going to try to get to level 11 pretty quickly. That rank 2 swap being so instrumental in pulling enemies out of position. If they can get a good opportunity to get huge amounts of right clicks into a gyrocopter, even if he has BKB, then they're going to be able to burst him down, and he won't be able to build hard attack damage. He'll have to build pretty tanky as well, and that's kind of a trade-off where you won't be able to contribute as much in those big RP type engagements. The kind of a little bit of a disadvantage to that, however, is you're kind of putting gyrocopter in an amazing position to hit everybody with flat cannon, get an awesome cooldown off, so on and so forth. So if a BKB is up for the gyrocopter, then you're going to have to make sure that your team is ready and raring to go to burst him down before he has any chance to retaliate.
Right, I do think that that swap is potentially a double-edged sword for Mouz here. They'll definitely be looking to use it in perfect situations. It does nicely interrupt, you can use it to interrupt things like Bane's Feed's Grip, which will also be very useful for them. And, I mean, you can swap people out of, you can swap Magnus to mess up his positioning. It's quite useful as a tool, but it's also very fiddly, especially at early levels.
Absolutely. So, seeing things shape up here, we have Black, as per usual, farming on the Luna down in bottom lane with some roaming support by the Vengeful Spirit and, yeah, Alex as well. And then we do see up on top that we're pretty much seeing a mirror scenario. Biz is perfect, just rushing for all that damage. He is the linchpin in rox.KIS's lineup. He has to get that farm, and it has to be extremely stable for him to get big and better items and kind of move on from there.
Right. And now, two things that I'm going to be looking for from rox.KIS in this game is, A, we're going to sort of see Sharfik's Magnus. He has played this hero before, but he's been, as I said earlier, he's been concentrating on heroes more like Puck and Windrunner. Now, Magnus does have his own advantages, obviously extremely mobile, extremely able to generate teamfight, and he's not dissimilar to Puck in that you sort of can treat his skewer blink RP somewhat the way you treat Puck blinking and using Dreamcoil. But definitely Sharfik and Dread, sort of the wild cards on rox.KIS, they're the two newest additions to the roster. Since they added Sharfik, they've actually improved their win rate considerably at the professional level. What I looked at before was that they were actually only about 36.4% win rate before him, and now they win 2/3 of their games. So definitely so far, Sharfik in the mid lane has been amazing, an amazing pickup for Rox. And it'll be interesting to see whether Dread as the solo player is as useful as of a pickup for them. And the other thing for us, sorry, Blaze,
very
actually I have a quick question.
Indeed, so they're just gonna.
Sorry, go ahead. Do you know if Bane is that Hardeev on Bane, or do they have a stand-in?
No, it's a stand-in. Old Star is just standing in for one of their individual players. Yeah, definitely. We do see that Dread is going to be pursuing on in there, and without the blink available, that is going to be first blood. Dread pursuing with that Iron Shell, and that is, yeah, a lot of damage coming on through, making sure that they can really put pressure on this Queen of Pain, limiting her experience. She's only level 3, and now they're going to take the top tower really quickly with just a dedicated push, since this top lane was entirely abandoned. And again, sorry about some issues, guys. I believe what we're just going to have to do is a rebroadcast for Twitch, and just focus on the Dota TV thing, because I don't want to have to deal with technical stuff while I'm trying to cast this game. It just doesn't work too well for you guys there. So anyways, just kind of pursuing on through. The tier 1 has fallen, and rox.KIS is doing extremely well right off the bat with that top tower taken down and moving in towards a 1500 gold advantage. They're not done yet. They're going for tier 2, and with the Basilius up on Biz, there's really not too much to stop them. The Wave of Terror cancels out just a little bit here and there, but they still keep on just hammering away at this tower and getting some nice advantage for it.
This is very heavy pressure that they're putting in. I mean, essentially permanent 4 laning here. So Rox is going to go for that very early, push this out, get space for the gyrocopter, which I definitely like. It'll sort of keep him on parity with Black's Luna. We don't know what he's actually going to build towards yet, but definitely strong. They've picked up one tower. Darkseer, the rotation to kill Quap was also strong. When Quap is still low level, that blink is just deceptively long cooldown. I mean, 12 seconds is a long time not to be able to get away from a fight. So Darkseer was able to just stay right on top of her and deal all of his damage there. I mean, for the meantime, Mouz, though, is going to try to, if not trade towers, then at least put a little bit of pressure on this bottom tower, because, of course, Darkseer hasn't shown his face here at all, and that's been what we've been seeing from Darkseers lately. Even solo Darkseers will just go towards the jungle rather than immediately join the lane, which is usually smart, because a lot of these tri-lanes can kill you very easily. So Mouz is going to pressure with the Nature's Prophet trees, and I think they might actually get this tower, because it doesn't look like Rox has any interest of actually rotating people over to stop this. So it's going to be a tower trade. Of course, it's a tier 2 for a tier 1, but Mouz may well just keep pushing, and this is that weird situation. This used to happen when you play with bots all the time, which is that you just have people pushing, and each of the bot teams fully pushes and nobody comes to defend, and they actually rotate business perfect, so interesting choice to bring the gyrocopter over. He can clear out creep waves extremely fast with flat cannon, but it's still only a level 2. He hasn't quite leveled it up higher than that yet, just because with the 4 people in the lane, they actually had a little bit less XP going towards, for example, the gyrocopter. Rubik and Bane, though, smoked up. They might try to pick off Queen of Pain again, because, of course, Fata has gone for a very aggressive build on this Queen of Pain. It's just the 1 rank in Blink and 3 ranks in Scream of Pain, so it gives him massive damage, but it makes him just a little bit more gankable. And it looks like he smells that there might be trouble, because he's backed off all the way towards the jungle camp, going to stack up this hard camp of the Ursas. Are they called Ursas anymore? No, they're called Hell Bears, of course. And Sharvik going back to the middle, and it looks like they've called off this gank because, of course, their smoke is actually out of time. Now, Queen of Pain still doesn't know about these guys, so they could loop around or they could try to go bottom, but of course, Mouz has very good vision down here, so they will see these guys passing through. I think they saw them rotating over. We're going to see Black peel back all the way towards the bottom lane, definitely.
Absolutely.
Blaze, how you doing?
Yeah, I'm just going to ignore the Twitch thing entirely, and hopefully I'll have 100% on this here. Just going to go for a rebroadcast in the near future in that regard, and I apologize for those that did not get the chance to watch it live on Twitch, but I just want to make sure that the game is covered and commentated as it should be here. So, Gyrocopter picking up the phase boots early on instead of the Tranquils gives them a lot of mobility, a lot of it right-click damage, as we were talking about before. The limiting factor is that if he does get harassed back here and there, he will have some issues, but they seem to be willing to commit to 5v5 right now, because Magnus has that RP. Sharfy can transition down and move in a direction where they can really just start putting pressure on Black. Black is an amazing carry player in the farming sense, but as far as when it comes down to team fights, it's usually he wants that to be in the 30 to 35 minute mark of the game. He does not want that to be 6 minutes in having to team fight as hero, even as Luna, who has great potential with burst magic damage. It's just not his style. He definitely prefers to farm away and get a gold advantage before actually committing to some big engagements. So in this sense, rox.KIS is playing and kind of tipping their hand in that, and they're just trying to make sure that they are putting the pressure on continuously, and if they can get a lot of gold for their team, overwhelmingly so, they can burn down the Luna extremely quickly.
Yeah, the one hero that we do see Black clashing on sometimes is Lifestealer, but certainly not on the Luna. I think he prefers to play a little bit more passive style. And actually, saving up a lot of money. I wonder if he won't go directly for that Yasha, just to give himself more maneuverability, more escapability, and a little bit of fight effect as well. But Sharfik, I wanted to comment, doing great in the middle lane. I mean, he's basically been even with this Queen of Pain. They're more or less even with each other, and Queen of Pain has died and had to peel off of lane due to gank fears a few times. So Sharfik getting the XP, and that's really all you want as Magnus early on, is if you have your arcane boots, your bottle, just so you can regen a lot of mana, and you're getting really good XP and making sure you get that reverse polarity quickly, you're putting the pressure on your opponents because they sort of know Magnus is online. Magnus can do quite a bit in any sort of teamfight engagement.
Absolutely, and so he's going to pursuing on through. He'll be moving in towards Blink Dagger as his next major item, but it does look like they want to put pressure on him a little bit early. They have the Vengeful Spirit stun at rank 1, but the big thing here is they're ranking up Vengeful's aura. They're trying to make sure that everybody has large right-click damage, and the team that they draft in general facilitates that very, very effectively. Quokova with the Trance, they're all base damage, so amplifying that will be just directly increasing it, and from there, Queen of Pain is largely based on how much intellect she gets through treads, through a null tally, some early right-click damage going that way, and along with that, the Luna with her solid agi gain, it'll all add up very quickly. So they're looking for team skirmishes themselves where they can definitely have a right-click advantage on top. Oh, Fata actually blinking out into trees instead of his desired position, just clicking on, probably clicking into this position here, but with that 75% limitation, it's just not going to cut it. Instead, getting caught out, and we're letting Business Perfect just walk away here.
It's the rank 1 blink. I mean, he's paying for that decision. He got it so that he could easily clear out the waves and sort of counter push and not take any tower damage against Magnus. But the flip side is rank 1 blink on Queen of Pain, 700 range, 12-second cooldown. And so far it's cost him a death and a not kill there, because I mean Gyro was in a lot of trouble if he had blinked all the way. The one other thing I wanted to note, Dread moving very quickly towards Mechanism. I think he's actually done in 300 gold, so that'll be a substantial advantage for them, because I'm not sure Mouz have even started their Mechanism yet. They might end up going in on Kochkova, because he does have his Midas. He's already used it 2 times, so he may decide to build up the Mechanism as soon as they see that Dread has a very, very, very quick Mechanism on the rox.KIS side. This will be a 10-minute match.
Exactly, and that's going to give them the huge potential to fight extremely quickly, even without Wall of Replica. They just get a rank 2 or 3 vacuum, get a even halfway decent reverse polarity, and they have not only the damage and disable to back it up, but they can follow that up with a lot of survivability from that mechanism. Keep heroes like the Gyrocopter alive and in the fray. He's not ranking up Barrage, so he doesn't necessarily need to be on the front line of things, but he still wants to, of course, be able to survive on through that Eclipse and just keep that DPS rolling. It's pretty much right now, comparing the rank 1 Queen of Pain and her 350 350 damage nuke, countering that by a 250 HP heal, and you consider mitigation in conjunction with that, it relatively cancels the two out. So everybody hit up by that Queen of Pain ulti will get immediately healed almost back up to all the HP that they lost.
Right. And with this Darkseer being the 3rd highest GPM on the map, it won't be too long after that before he can assemble a pipe if that's what he decides to go next. And that's a common item on Darkseer, and the pipe mechanism combo will really neuter Queen of Pain. I mean, she's got nothing on the board so far, and by the time pipe comes up, she'll be just substantially less effective until she builds out a lot more than that.
Absolutely. So we are seeing that Sharfik's going to bottle up that regeneration rune, can use it to just harass over and over and over with his shockwave onto the supports. They're very low HP. They take about a third of their health every single time they're struck by it, and it can add up very quickly, especially since they seem to be intended to go as 4. But down on bottom, Gyrocopter does get caught out with the Sprout closing him in. He is not able to escape, even though he did have tangos. Just too much damage from a Lucent Beam and the burst of the Queen of Pain. In trade, though, they are looking to take this tier 1 tower, and actually going in, the disruption comes out on the Magnus, who was just speeding on through with Surge, now closing on Alex and actually committing the RP. Really wanted to finish that off, and oh, if they didn't finish it, that would be really atrocious. But in the end, they get the kill, they walk away, and they're looking for this tier 1 to actually cement their advantage a little bit here. They did lose the Gyro. He's not getting the farm he needs, but if they can get at least some team gold across the board, they can be in a great position here.
I think they definitely need to pressure this tier 1 a little bit harder, because there's a lot of damage being taken by the tier 2 bottom. Now, Queen of Pain will probably peel off this. They actually moved Magnus over. He's still holding... Oh, he just used the regen and he lost it immediately, unfortunately. But he's still got quite a bit of bottle charges, so he can do a lot of anti-push here. But they're going to peel off, it looks like, not actually take the tier 1 mid, and now it's a bit of a standoff here.
Yeah, that is pretty much it. We're looking at Biz moving in towards a Drum of Endurance, most likely. Again, needs to balance his offensive capabilities with durability. When you're up against a Vengeful Spirit or a Shadow Demon who can pull you out of position so hardcore, you can't just go for raw right-click damage. You can't just go for a Dominator and a Manta-style build. You have to make sure that you are going to be able to survive through even the worst of positioning here. But along with that, one thing to mention is that there is a lot of range on Mouse Sports. Their lineup here, Queen of Pain has slightly reduced range, Luna significantly, but beyond that, the relative range of the heroes is going to be around 500, with Nature's Prophet and Vengeful Spirit kind of roaming on around that area, averaging it out. The point is that they're not going to cluster up too much against a reverse polarity, and I always do see Dread crossing paths with Pokeba, looking for that damage to come on through quickly, and there's really nothing to stop him. One little vacuum should be enough to finish him off right here. Surging on in, but canceled out immediately by Alex's vacuum close. He gets the last right click and Dread finishes out. Despite the Demonic Purge, Oldstar dropping low to a Wrath of Nature will be closed in, and that Scream should finish the job here. Now turning around, there is no blink available just yet, and it looks like Biz is going to get this kill easily with Vata, the mechanism especially helping to make sure that he's going to be able to stay in that fight, finish it off, and see it to its finish. We take down the Nature's Prophet and Queen of Pain in exchange for 2 supports, so that's exactly the kind of trades they're willing to make to move on forward with the more important values of net worth.
Right, and again, it's that the Queen of Pain, when she doesn't level Blink, I mean, obviously he's up to rank 4 now, but even during that fight, it was still level 2, and he ended up having 5 seconds on the Blink left with a Gyrocopter, Rocket Barrage, and a Call Down beating on him. And the Rocket Barrage actually hit creeps mostly, so he might have had a chance to escape, but unfortunately just barely not being able to. I mean, the upside is, of course, he did get the bait. And a quick swap on Gyro, actually.
Oh yeah, they do pull him into the tower range. They're doing a lot of damage by reducing his armor, but after the Demonic Purge goes on through, there's not enough follow-up. Almost there. Shadow Poison, I don't believe will cut it. Oh, it does! Ooh. Just barely. He has ranked that up enough that it will do enough damage. Now we do see the RP and Skewer onto Black to bring him down in return. So carry for carry here. But yeah, they did have to commit the reverse polarity from Sharfik in order to get that down. But yeah, that Shadow Poison, even at 1 single charge, still doing a decent chunk of damage. Sharfik dropping low, gets ultied, and actually hits on Rubik as well. He doesn't go for the steal, just goes for the Scream to finish off the Venge. Now wants to bring down the Queen of Pain, but she is able to blink on out, having maxed that very very quickly after the fact. So that she's mobile enough to escape on out, but they do trade Magnus for a Vengeful Spirit, which still, again and again, these trades seem to be going in favor of Mouz, especially with Fada picking up an easy kill coming on through. Now TPs will come on actually towards the top lane here, meaning Old Star will just have to fall back while Business Perfect just tries to get as much farm as possible. Moving up the last hit charts, we do see him about to close and equalize it out with Black, but the question is whether or not it'll be enough. We see right now that the experience advantage is moving very, very much in favor of Mouz.
Fox is starting to get pretty scary, and I think in that situation it started with very good movement both from Sharfik and Dread, but then Dread not staying with the supports and not popping the mechanism onto them made them very, very vulnerable to those last couple of screams of pain out from Fata. And, I mean, both teams, I do want to call out the supports because they're playing very, very well, especially that Shadow Demon. Those have been some very on-point demonic purges. He almost saved Nature's Prophet that one time. He led directly to the kill on the Gyrocopter, and he's just been doing extremely great work, as well as Bane, for that matter, on rox.KIS, has defended them from several potential player deaths.
Absolutely. Now we do see smoke coming on out from Vengeful Spirit and Shadow Demon. They want to make something happen, and these are two heroes that can really effectively initiate with the disruption, the swap. I mean, they have so many different long-range abilities that can close the distance and make sure that the damage is amplified, that the kill can come through very, very quickly. Whether it's the wave, the Soul Catcher, whatever they can make do with to be able to bring down the enemies. And really, the one thing that Bane's going to be trying to do is find pickoffs where he can easily get a full duration Fiend's Grip off, and against this kind of lineup, you're just not going to see it, generally speaking. With a Lucent Beam or anything that Shadow Demon and Venge put out, you're generally going to be interrupted prematurely, and from there he's just probably focusing primarily on just getting lots of brain saps off really early on, but beyond that there's really not too much more for him to accomplish other than stacking things up for the Gyrocopter, which it looks like the Ancient camps have been cleared most recently, so he's definitely staying on top of that as well.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I think you're right. The one other thing I wanted to note is that this Gyrocopter Luna situation, they're at almost the same net worth, so Gyrocopter is doing a good job of tracking Luna's net worth and not getting too far behind on farm. But the question is, what do they use that farm on? And so in Black's case, you see that he's gone for the Akala, he has the Yasha, and he's holding 2,000 golds. This may well be the full Manta style soon. Whereas Gyrocopter, I just think he doesn't feel nearly as comfortable. He feels like he needs to pick up that BKB. You do see him moving towards it. He's only about 600 up. Actually, Black going to get picked up in the bottom.
Yeah, really, really good initiation there. Using the blink as soon as they get it, Sharfik jumping on in and being able to pull them out of position, as well committing the Wall of Replica. So that is going to be enough to come on through. Now down in the jungle, we do see Biz trying to close in on Alex, but with that Demonic Purge, he's able to get on out. Hit by the homing missile, hit by the call down, but it's really Fata that's doing the damage here, bringing down the Bane. Now getting RP'd up, too much damage coming out. Nice stun though. Either way, the Skewer will finish the job, and now focusing down on Vengeful Spirit. There's only a couple of measly supports left, and they are just going to be chased down. They're just pretty much trampled over with this next movement from the Magnus when he gets blinking on in.
Yeah.
So.
Well, yeah.
There we go. He does get the blink off, and just needs to get one quick right click off, and he will manage it here. Now Quokova able to sprout up and burn down the Rubik very, very quickly with the Queen of Pain, and now putting pressure onto rox.KIS. He's going to off an Ice Shell on a creep, actually, and then fall back from there. They nice blocks coming out of Quokova, though, completely locking him down in range for the Vengeful Spirit stun. He does pop the mechanism. They finish it off with the Scream in the urn. Nice movement between Quokova and presumably Paz. Quokova especially, with those Trents blocking. That was just so well done. And he has to buy back.
Legendary level treants, yeah.
Yeah. So he buys back, actually vacuums out Quokova. He does get Fiend's Gripped up. Now we do see Alex back in here. Defensive Disruption. I'm not sure if it'll do it enough, though, with the Iron Shell. He does get finished off as well. We see the Shadow Demon drop himself. So kind of jumping into his own demise without actually making anything happen here. Fada with full HP and almost full mana wants to make something happen here on the mid lane. The stuns come out. They go for the Scream. There's a lot of damage coming across, but it looks like Dread is going to take too much here. With one more Scream, he will be dropped down. Urn and right clicks doing enough. Trying to go for the deny. The Siege Creep about to hit, though. It's going to be within one right click of range, and it is going to be the Vengeful Spirit finishing it off. Fata on the offensive, going up against Sharfik and actually getting the damage over time enough on Bane. Yeah, so very, very effective in that regard, and yeah, he has just been running wild, just rampant all over the enemy lineup, and although Magnus will be able to blink and skewer on out to an Illusion Rune, Fata is just really relentless in how he's been playing this.
Absolutely.
RP up in 2 seconds. He commits the RP. Going to be able to get a couple more right clicks to try to finish it off. It is not fast enough. No, it is. Putting both of them down, but the Geometry side drops. And with that, Quokova has a nice little takeaway from that engage.
I mean, Gem, Interesting that he chose. I think he thought that Nature's Prophet was going to go for Shadow Blade, since that's been the popular build lately, but we're actually getting something like a double Orchid coming out from Mouz. Orchid on the Nature's Prophet, Orchid on the Queen of Pain. So just trying to shut down all those casters, especially I feel like the Darkseer.
Yeah, that's the priority there. I mean, Magnus as well, but Darkseer most definitely. A couple TPs coming down on towards mid, but just going to try to counter push. Does not get the deny, however. So Mouz definitely winning on towers in that regard with that 1-for-1, 1 for I guess half, I guess you could say, with that deny. But one thing to mention also is that the supports on both teams have been so active with their wards. Sentries everywhere, trying to just go back and forth. It's been the unsung tale of this match has been these little mini ward battles, just trying to get a little bit of vision here and there, especially during the nighttime with all these long range initiators. If you can get vision with a Vengeful Spirit and swap in, or you can go for a Blink Magnus Skewer, so many different ways you can use that vision effectively, and the gem would have easily tipped the scales in their favor, but instead, obviously losing it so quickly, there's really nothing that they gain from that, and instead they just hand it to the enemy, and Prophet's going to hang on to it and go for a Shadow Blade himself now that his Orchid is finished.
Yeah. The only other thing I want... well, I guess there's two things I want to point out. One is that while Sharfik has been getting some great RPs in motion with the Skewer, I wonder if we're not seeing a little bit of unfamiliarity just with playing this hero at a professional level, because he has missed two critical shockwaves. Like, he missed a kill on Shadow Demon, and then he missed a kill on Vengeful Spirit, and she walked away from that, no problem. Meanwhile, I think we're going to get yet another tower trade, it looks like. Yeah,
they're looking for tier 2. They have everybody committed to this, and again, tons of right-click damage on both heroes. That's like plus 92 on the Luna here, within range of the Vengeance Aura, so getting huge potential to burst these kind of structures down quickly, and from there, there's not too much hope for them to retaliate. They get tier 1 on bottom, but again, it's still just not worth a tier 2 here.
Looks like Mouz are going to go for yet another tier 2 on top of that, and definitely with just Magnus down here, this is not going to be a trade. This is probably going to be a fight. Gyrocopter's BKB is done, let's note, so he's going to be a lot more powerful in this next engagement, but Black's Manta is done, which is just as scary, if not more.
Dread getting Orchided up, but they're not initiating just yet. Now here comes Fata on the front lines, looking for an opportunity here. Biz really wanted to get something across himself. Is finished, so he's back to full HP, and that is going to be the tier 2 tower. They're going to fall back from here because they don't want to really risk this kind of position. They've already lost their objective. So losing the tier 2 for absolutely nothing. Wards placed on both sides, but actually it's going to be the Fiend's Grip that pulls Fata out of position, gets the RP as well. He is locked down, and with that, the team fight is just completely gone. No Shadow Blade yet, so Kokova is just going to have to run for it, but I'm not sure if he can. Getting the Nightmare, trying to go for the vacuum, everybody on Kokova, and they're going to be able to finish him off. So 2 for a tier 2. In the gold department, I think it's still technically favorable for Mouz Sports, but in experience, it's definitely helping rox.KIS take the levels back for this game.
Right. And that could have gone a lot worse, actually, for Mouz. Dread, when the Orchid ended, he completely whiffed a vacuum, which was very close, within about 50 units of catching at least 2 Mouz people in. So it could have been even more players lost, and definitely not worth the tier 2. But I think they'll be happy with the extra map control, because, again, Luna is building damage, Gyrocopter is building survivability. He's going to transition over, but for now, Luna's going to farm vastly faster.
Yeah, extremely. But speaking of doing something really quickly, they're looking at Roche, and they have the right-click damage with this rank 4 Empower already ranked up. I mean, Sharfik has gotten so much experience. Sitting at level 14, maxing out that Empower, they can just destroy this Roche, and now they're going on the outside to try to look for pulling somebody out of position. It gets swapped. Vengeful Spirit takes the haste. Sharfik is completely locked down here, gets destroyed. Beautiful timing from the VS swap rank 2. Now the Eclipse goes on through. A lot of damage going across, and it looks like all of them are going to fall with the Queen of Pain doing so much damage. Dread drops and the Wrath of Nature to pick up Bid. That is a 5 for 0. Beautiful initiation, perfect timing with all their ultis, all the burst, and get a Roshan to clean it up. This is the turning point of this game. I mean, they've had the advantage to a slight extent, but this is a dramatic swing in their favor. It's ridiculous what they got out of that.
Yeah, Mouz just blew this game wide open, and it starts again. I've talked about this being a game of supports, but that Vengeful Spirit play there, I mean, if they had had Magnus, it could have been a very different situation, if only to skewer people out of position and ensure that they didn't just wipe immediately.
The timing was just all off for Sharfik there. He was kind of coming out to greet and just say, hello guys, I'm here. I'm just going to kind of be a wall, a barrier, a buffer to keep them from the Roche pit. But he didn't have that skewer. He already tried to go for a cheeky blink skewer that failed. His RP was on cooldown from the previous fight. And from there, Vengeful Spirit swaps him out of position and then makes sure that the timing of it was perfect. He was going to get a haster and that might have given him the chance to escape, but no, right before it, Venge gets the swap, takes the room for himself, and from there, without the Magnus, with the jump in of the Queen of Pain and the Luna, they had the full initiation potential to clean that up 100%.
A fight at top, maybe.
Yeah, ridiculous. But yeah, Rox needs something. They smoke up because they know that if they can't take something here, they are out. I mean, I'm not saying out of this game, but they're in a position where they're just going to be struggling from behind the entire time. But Oldstar, unable to find a Fiend's Grip, means that they're not going to be able to get that Queen of Pain. And she's just, Ramfata is just going to be rampant with that HSC Immortal, actually, just cleaning things up, farming away, and moving in. What do you think she's going to go for next? Could go for a BKB, but it wouldn't be great against either the Magnus or the Bane. So probably just something like a Aghanim Scepter?
Honestly, I think Aghanims. Keep in mind this, they've seen now from the last fight that Darkseer is not going pipe, which I don't know how I feel about that, by the way. I'm really not sure about Darkseer rushing Aghanims. I feel like a hood and then pipe, if they had been at a pipe or even halfway to a pipe, it would have been so much better for them, especially as this Queen of Pain gets bigger and bigger. But now that they've seen that he's going Aghanims, I think Aghanims on the Quap is actually going to be backbreaking.
Yeah. Absolutely. So that is going to be what they're looking for, and looking for opportunities for big damage to come on out, because we saw how effective it was with the quick burst combos, with the Eclipse, with that Sonic Wave at, I guess it was, do you think it was rank 2 or rank 3? She's about pretty far into level 16, but I'm not 100%.
It was rank 2 at the time of the Roche fight.
Okay. But one thing to keep in mind is Rubik, even at such a low level, even sitting at level 10, still has the potential to steal a rank 3 or a rank 4 ultimate from that Queen of Pain. And that is just completely devastating if it goes in the wrong hands. So have to be cautious about it, have to definitely be very precise in how they engage. But going up against the Darkseer without a pipe means that Wall of Replica can be rendered almost useless with a good Sonic Wave.
Right. And the other factor, of course, is now with that fight, with that extreme advantage Mouz just picked up, Luna has rocketed ahead. So Black has his full Manta, he has his full BKB, he's got an Ockel, and he's 2.4k on the way to whatever.
Oh, jumping in, Fata looking for Oldstar. Should be able to finish him off right here. No mechanism just yet, and it looks like, okay, the Orca damage was not sufficient whatsoever.
Sonic Wave on Rubik.
Yep. That is really, really instrumental. If they can make that happen, make something really, really good out of that, they're going to be in a good spot here. Now, we did see that through the Geometry site, they were able to deward what would have been a good counter sentry, but just kind of showing that Queen of Pain still needs a little bit of assistance here, using the Sonic Wave Scream with the Orchid to amplify it, but the burn just wasn't enough, and they were able to even survive on through it with the lowliest of supports. The Bane is only level 9, but is able to hold on there using...
And no stats.
Yeah, I mean, he has burn, but that's really minimal, so it's really not benefiting him whatsoever. And in that, that just means Fata needs to play as a teammate, not as a single pick-off. He's not a Clinks here. He's just a really, really great fighter, and with that, they should be looking to pressure 5v5 as much as possible while this Aegis is still active.
Right. Now, I think for Rox, I'm glad that Rubik didn't die for them, because the fact that he has this Sonic Wave in his pocket, if they can get an RP Sonic, that could be exactly what they need to sort of win a team fight, get back into this. Because they need to reestablish some form of map control. Mouz right now, they rule the bottom of the Radiant jungle, they're all across the river, and they're just comfortably pushing Rox back towards their base. Rox needs to make sure that they have room in the jungle for Gyro to get farm, and that they sort of get Mouz off of their side of the map. Actually,
looking for an opportunity, Yol and Fata dueling it out here. The Orchid comes out immediately, and Fata's just going to blink away. So just kind of getting out of dodge there. Knew that he did not want to be involved with a 1 versus 5 engagement here. But Nature's Prophet jumping up, Kokova fearless, even without a TP scroll, just feels, okay, well, I can keep that pressure rolling. But they might have other things in mind. Darkseer looking to kind of counter push away, and they do have some pretty hardcore disables. Curious to see if Sharpik's willing to commit the RP here. He definitely can with a blink and of course, popping that off, but Kokova with that Shadow Blade is trying to dish out damage to Dread instead. Now we see the rotation coming in. Alex getting vision? No. They're not going to be able to close the distance, no Demonic Purge, etc., but they're just kind of staying mobile, staying active, and looking for the quick picks. If they do what they did in that Roche fight, if they just go for an immediate pull out of positioning of any of those key heroes, pulling out Gyrocopter, pulling out Magnus or Darkseer, they can really, really make something happen here, but for the moment, they're just kind of drawing the line, and I think Rox.KIS is playing very smart of just trying to wait it out, trying to turtle up nicely and make sure that they're not suffering that pickoff.
Oh,
we do see
missed RP.
Yeah, that is instrumental. That is extremely bad for him. Did the blink get put on cooldown, or he just didn't put it in the right spot?
Black just managed to get just out of the range of it. He tried, and I think he cast it after the blink, but it just wasn't in range to actually catch Black.
Well, that's very, very unfortunate indeed. Now, they don't have that teamfight utility. They're going to group up as 5. The Sonic Wave does come out, swapping in Dread. He doesn't get his spells off just yet. With the Orchid, he's taking too much much damage. Mech will keep him up for now, but it's not enough. The vacuum only comes out. Gyrocopter with a lot of right-click damage, but it's just not enough yet. Kokova will fall, but Black is going to just completely annihilate from here. So much right-click damage. Ultra kill coming on out. The Lucent Beam, I don't think it'll put him in enough. With the buybacks coming out, Black has to turn and run. But the Aegis is back up, and Fata is raring to go for a round 2. They are pretty low on life. The Urn of Shadows has 3 charges left. I think... Oh, okay. Actually, who's back in there? Nature's Prophet. Kokova not getting the memo here, and jumped right into the fray. That was not good at all for him, but that's just, unfortunately, one of the things that can happen in those kinds of chaotic circumstances. Now we do see Orchid on Sharfik. Are they going to engage? They do get initiation on the Vengeful Spirit. They've already blinked out with the Magnets, so they can't really help him out too much. Soulcatcher up, but I think this might be the end of the fight. Both of them just a little too tired. The fatigue is wearing on this kind of engagement, and neither one can really commit to it in full.
With Koshkova, it was just a miscommunication because he bought back to get back into the fight. I think he thought that post-Aegis they were going to leap in with Fata, and then he actually started his TP, Fata blinked out, and then he was basically dead in the water. Trouble for Hardy, though, here.
Yeah, also in a really terrible spot, and yeah, there's no hope there. Along with that, Yol getting slowed up, swapped out, and will be locked down pretty quickly, but instead, Buzz is perfect with that call down, with that damage output, is actually turning things around nicely. Rubik did fall in the end. Sharfik pursuing on Alex, a couple right clicks will finish the job here, and one of those things I was talking about, them needing to fall back. They were too low HP, and Black is here, but he doesn't have lifesteal. Is it going to be enough? The RP is canceled. They kill the Magnus in time. Now, Vengeful Spirit 4 staff away, but she should die in the very end to that homing missile coming on through. Dread focus down a little bit with that Orchid, but yeah, there goes the Vengeful Spirit kill. Looking for a 2v2 here. The Dread is trying to vacuum him away, just try to close the distance, but a beautiful wall from Kokova, just dropping the forest on him, and Biz is perfect. The only thing that he can manage to do is kill the gem. He drops it on the ground, he breaks it in half, and from there he does take a fall. He's already exhausted his buyback, so this could be a tier 3.
It's not just him. Darkseer has a buyback cooldown and no money. Magnus can buy back, and he does still have the RP, but they don't have anything to follow it. Rubik's going to take a fall. Bane's probably dead too.
Yeah, caught inside the sprout. No, unfortunately, no tree cutters, so he's just going to go for his last resort, the last ditch, popping off that ultimate here, but it looks like Magnus is going to be the only one to try to hold this up. Does get that RP on Black underneath the tier 4s, taking a lot of damage here, but is it enough? With that Orchid, they're turning it around, and Black will live another day, dodging out a couple tower attacks, so a little bit of salt on the wound with that butterfly pickup, just able to survive, take these racks, and that might be the nail in the coffin. We'll have to see if Rox can do anything else, but if they just get a good frontline tank on this, they can even push in for these mid-racks as well.
Right. It was actually the Orchid from Queen of Pain saved Black's life there. One more shockwave would have done it. But he managed to save him by silencing Magnus so he could only melee. Obviously the melee a lot less scary than the shockwave at that point for Black.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I mean, full butterfly, Manta, BKB picking up 4 Raxes, and they're still playing smart. Again, they're backing out when they need to, because they don't need to press the advantage into the tier 4s here. They just picked up a colossal advantage just now.
Absolutely. So from there, we are seeing Rubik move in towards a Drum of Endurance possibly, but I'm just saying, like, what can they do to try to turn things around? Right now, it looks like Darkseer's even tried to transition into a BKB from here, because the Orchid is just so frustrating. This dual Orchid lineup is genius for them. Queen of Pain now picking up an Ethereal Blade for crying out loud. Huge amounts of stats for all of them, and here Fonta's just going for crazy burst nuke in conjunction with that Orchid, and they can burn down anybody. Looking for right now Business Perfect with that Sheepstick, no opportunity to BKB, and he's already dead. He does actually BKB out after the Ethereal Blade, but a couple right clicks from Nature's Prophet immediately after the fact cancel that thought out pretty quickly.
Yeah, this is
and
a
with
level
that kind of
19
pickoff,
Nature's Prophet, so he's no slouch. BKB won't save you. He can melee you down. I mean, we've got Roshan coming in like 5 seconds. I think rox.KIS's next best hope is that Mouz gets a little greedy, takes a bad Rosh, and they jump in and RP them or something. Because honestly, I don't know any other way that they can sort of drag themselves back into this. I mean, Black's got his full loadout. He's got Helm of the Dom, and of course Nature's Prophet. We haven't talked about him that much, but he's been incredibly effective this game. I mean, he's got his full Scythe, Shadowblade, Orchid, and he looks like he's making Necro, probably, maybe Ags. I don't even know.
hard to say at the moment, but they pretty much, I don't know, one way or another. it's just they're going to go for Roche here, and I think Mouz Sports is going to be able to push in pretty effectively for this final rack. Unless they get the best Magnus polarity of their lives, it's just not going to really make the difference here. They want to get that refresher orb, get that 1875 recipe, but yeah, I just don't see it happening within the time period they need. And instead, we're going to see Fata with that Ethereal Blade and that Aegis Mortal. So it is a 30-second cooldown. Can't spam it out hardcore, but still just having a lot of right-click damage herself, having not only the pretty good 180 outside of the 2 auras, but also the fact that she gets crazy attack speed from it, adding in, I believe, 40 IAS, setting it up so that she can just completely deliver the pain on the towers, on the heroes, and from there, looking at the burst combo, trying to go for Rubik, instead gets ultied up. Rox will be able to steal up that Sonic wave now going on through. There is an RP up on Black. BK beat up. He will be able to negate most of his damage with the Butterfly coming around with the Eclipse, actually just thrown into a position where he can pop it off on everyone here. Now, looking to duel it out, he has that lifesteal, trying to bounce the Glaives, and does get some damage in on Dread. It's going to be a double kill for Fata in the end, and Black pursuing all the way to the fountain to try to burn him down, and it looks like it's going to be enough. The GG has come out, and Mouz just kind of running rampant, just completely annihilating them in all these engages, and a fun, goofy Ethereal Blade onto Black himself, who has the Manta out.
Right. I mean, Mouz playing a great game, honestly, and one thing that I have to say about Mouz post-roster change. So, I mean, just via the stats, in February when Kurokai was still on the team, Mouz was winning about half their games, so 53% win rate, more or less. And since then, they've played way less games, so only 15 games since they replaced Kurokai, but they've gotten 60% win rate in those games with roughly an equal strength of schedule. Like, some of those were against very hard teams. And so, Kochba has really made a home for himself on this team, and I think part of the reason is Mouz these days has just such a tight game plan that they always seek to execute. I think they're not being pulled in different directions where it's like, oh, do we want to play very loose and team fighty? Do we want to just focus on a carry? When do we want to win? Now it's, we have an early game plan, we use Fata plus supports plus potentially a roamer from Kochba to get early kills and really blow the game open, and then Black will get his farm because he is, I think he's the best farmer in the Western scene right now. He's the best #1 farming carry. And so as soon as he gets the space from the other players, he just completely dominates. And that's exactly what we saw this game. Queen of Pain, Nature's Prophet, and some play from the Venge opens up the game, puts rox.KIS on the defensive, Gyrocopter starts building slow defensive items, and then out of nowhere, Black Ultra Kill, and they win.
Absolutely, just really have the backbone to pull it on through. I think that turning point, as I mentioned before, was when level 11 Vengeful Spirit got the full pick off on Sharvik before any abilities came out. They fought a 5-0 and a Roche, took so many towers, and I believe the top racks. As a result of that, it was a chain of events starting from that very moment, that very decision by the Vengeful Spirit, and from there they take the game. So very, very nice action, and we're going to go on to game 2 of this best-of-3 series in just a minute. So it was an interesting game for sure, and we'll have to see what rox.KIS can do to try to bounce back here. So